Hey loves, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. My name is Tyla and today is episode 23 of our journal session series. So this is an interactive series where we journal together, and I also offer you time to write out your answers. So make sure that you have your pen and your journal ready and at hand, and let's get into these prompts because they are really good. So question number 1, how do you show your resiliency? So resilience is the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. So asking yourself this question can really help you to have an insight onto how you handle conflict when it arises in your life. Whenever we do these journal sessions, I always encourage you guys to answer the prompts honestly and accurately, so that way you get the best out of these sessions. So be honest about how you handle conflict when it arises and how resilient you are. Now, to give you guys a few examples of how you show resilience, it can be trying to take a positive perspective on situations. It can be viewing challenges as learning opportunities. It can be regulating your emotions and expressing your feelings in appropriate ways. Focusing on the things that you can control instead of dwelling on what you cannot change. Recognizing that cognitive distortions are false. And reframing negative thoughts to be more realistic and positive. So if you struggle with being resilient or showing that resilience, I'm going to give you guys 5 characteristics that you can start including. So the first one is problem-solving skills. The second is strong social connections. The third is a survivor mentality. The fourth is emotional regulation. And the fifth is self-compassion. If you incorporate these 5 characteristics, you'll find that it's going to be a lot easier for you to be resilient in the face of crisis or conflict. So question number 2 is, what motivates you to be your best self? Now, when it comes to motivation, it honestly is fleeting. You're not always going to be motivated. And this is what stops most people from continuing further, whether it's with their goals, whether it's for their personal transformation. So having a strong sense of why and purpose behind your motivation is what's really going to push you on those days where you are lacking it. So I'm going to give you guys a quick example. With me personally, what led to me being motivated and wanting to take on that personal development journey and just healing overall is when I was at the lowest point of my life. When I was in that point, it made me realize a lot, because although I got to the point where I was really depressed and I just didn't want to exist anymore, which was really just me not wanting to experience the feelings that I was going through at that time, it made me realize that a big part of me wanted to be here. I wanted to fulfill my life's purpose. And I told myself that at the end of the day, what I really want to do is fulfill my purpose, fulfill my dreams, and help others to do the same. So that was my why and my purpose behind what was motivating me to become the best version of myself, because I knew back then that if I wanted to do this and I wanted to accomplish these things, I had to step into that higher version of myself. I had to heal and overcome the things that I was experiencing in order to do that. So make sure that you have a strong meaning and purpose behind your motivation when it comes to achieving that higher version of yourself. And it does not have to be like mine. That was just an example to give you guys, but just anything that's meaningful to you, because on your journey, it is going to be hard. There's going to be days when you want to fall back into certain patterns and certain coping mechanisms that you've already broken free from. So having that strong why and purpose behind your motivation is what's going to push you. So the next question is, how do you transition from one situation to another? What tools do you need to create smoother transitions? What I found is that when it comes to having smoother transitions in your life, whether it's from a job or to a certain lifestyle, it's always about planning. That makes it way easier, because when you don't have a actual plan and you don't know step by step how you're going to transition into something or accomplish something, you get stuck, and then that creates stagnancy because you don't know where to even start. So then you just don't start at all. So I highly recommend creating a plan, a very detailed one. Envision the life or situation that you want to create and cultivate, and then start taking step-by-step action when it comes to it. I used this technique when it came to transitioning my career, as well as when it came to just transitioning my lifestyle, and I really got serious and specific about what it was that I wanted, and it eventually came into fruition and everything came to pass. So I highly recommend that. So the next question is, do you observe your feelings and how do you do this? When it comes to our emotions and our feelings, they really do tell us a lot and show us a lot about ourselves as well as our subconscious beliefs. So it's really important to make sure that you're stopping to acknowledge and honor your feelings. A lot of the times, yes, they may be uncomfortable or you may not want to face certain feelings, but choosing to honor your feelings allows you to move through your emotional energy like anger or sadness so that you can let it go and move forward. It's also really important to honor your emotions because with this, you can create inner peace and be true to yourself and build better relationships. The next question is, how can you use breath work to create calmer energy? As somebody who overthinks and can't seem to shut their mind off, literally, for me, breath work has been a game changer, and I'm so glad that I started incorporating it into my daily routine because you know how they say, like, an idle mind is the devil's playground. I really do believe that, and a lot of the times when you are so stuck in your head, it creates a lot of confusion. And not only that, but you may start questioning things, you may start overthinking things, and then those thoughts end up becoming a belief because you're thinking about it so much that it's getting embedded into your subconscious. When you're thinking about it, your brain is thinking to itself, maybe this is true. She keeps thinking about this, or he keeps thinking about this. So I'm going to take that information and process it and store that into my subconscious as truth. So practicing breath work is going to be a game changer for you, not only if you're an overthinker, but if you just want to have more peace and stability mentally, that's going to help a lot. Me personally, each morning as a part of my morning routine, I like to do meditation. So I do it for at minimum 10 minutes, but up to 15, I guess I would say. And it helps a lot. Not only that, but it helps to clear my mind. It helps me to be more focused as well. And with this, I'm able to receive more ideas. I have more clarity on situations. I feel happier, upbeat, more positive. My energy is more vibrant, and I'm vibrating at a higher level. So it has a lot of really good benefits. Not only that, but it helps to ease stress, it helps to ease anxiety, it helps to improve your health. Just so many amazing benefits. So I highly recommend including breath work into your routine, and you'll even see that you'll start to have a more positive outlook on things as well. The next question is, what are you ready to shed from your past? Quickest way to cause burdens and weigh down your spirit is to hold on to things from the past. And that's easier said than done because depending on what you've experienced in your past, it may be really hard to let go of. It may be really hard to forgive certain people or just overcome certain things that you went through. But that's why healing is so important, because you really cannot fully evolve and move forward if you are still holding on to things from your past. That's why healing is so important, because when you hold on to these burdens, it stops you from evolving. It stops you from growing and experiencing peace. And a lot of the things that we went through, regardless of how bad it was, it really is preparing you to become a better version of yourself. And I say that because the things that I went through, although it was so terrible and some of the things were life-changing, I would not take any of it back, to be completely honest. There's certain things that I'll probably never speak of to certain people that I've experienced. But even still, seeing the person that I've become after all of that, it's really made me appreciate those things that I went through. And I know it's hard to see that in those moments, and it's really hard to push through it and overcome it. But if it wasn't for me overcoming it, I wouldn't even be who I am today, which is why it's so important to shift your perspective on the things that's happening in your life, because a lot of things are happening for your highest good, and it's not necessarily happened to burden you and to harm you and hurt you, but it's going to really make you great. And it's so funny because I express gratitude now for the harmful and painful, traumatic experiences that I went through, whereas back then when I was going through it, I was questioning, why is this even happening to me? And you don't see until hindsight is 2020. So you just have to make sure that you are sticking true to your goals, you're sticking true to who you are and who you want to become, and you're keeping that vision. And if you do have anything that you're holding on to from the past, Release it with love and light. I don't care how you have to do it or what's the method that you have to use. Me personally, whenever I want to release something and forget about something, I write it down and I burn the paper and I release it. I also really like this method because when you write things down and you write down everything that you want to release, it's kind of a form of brain dumping, and you're technically brain dumping all the things that you have stored in your subconscious, the things that have pained you, and it's all coming out onto that paper. You might even start writing about things that you thought you've forgotten about or that you thought you got over, and you realize that you really didn't. It really is something that still affects you. So I do highly recommend doing that technique, because when you do that, I'm telling you, you're going to feel 100% lighter. You're going to feel better. You're going to feel more lifted, and it's going to give you a sense of peace and clarity. Not only that, but it will give you a sense of closure as well, because there may be things that you went through from other people and you've never received that closure, so it's something that you've held on to. So even if you want to write it down in the form of a letter, like you're not actually going to send a letter to that person, but you would basically write as if you are speaking to that person, and you would express how you feel about the situation, and then you would release it. You would write that you forgive and that you are letting it go and you are now releasing this. You don't have to just do it if it's about a person. You can just write a list of all the things that you want to release and then just burn the paper. I do this too, because that way you know that nobody will ever see it. It's your personal business and you're just releasing it out into the universe. And when you do this method, it's also releasing that energy. So that's all for today, my loves. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe so that you don't miss another session, and I'll see you next time. Peace and much love.
If you become yourself, not be head of state. But my people then go say, I know one die.